We think that brands are ultimately, if they follow that playbook, discounting themselves to death. And again, I felt like there's got to be a better way than this break glass in case of emergency, discount set of tactics. And that's really where our focus on driving profitable traffic comes from.
Hello and welcome from the sidelines of the ICR Conference here in Orlando, Florida. I'm Jarrett Banks, Editor-at-Large of Executive Edge. Joining me today is Noah Glass, the founder and CEO of Olo. Welcome back to the program.
Jarrett, great to be back with you. Thank you.
Great, let's start at the beginning. You founded Olo in 2005 with text message ordering. This is pre-iPhone. Tell us about what inspired that early vision.
Yeah, so I moved to New York City. This was in 2003, actually, and I was living on Wall Street, which is a very weird place to live. And the coffee shop that I tried to go to every morning, or did go to, always had long lines of people who wanted to get coffee all at the exact same time. It was this extreme version of peak demand that restaurants experience really pretty frequently at every mealtime, but it was a particularly Uber version of it because it was downtown Manhattan, everybody getting out of the subway, trying to go to work, trying to get their caffeine. So I thought there's got to be a better way, as entrepreneurs often do. What if I could order and pay ahead? What if I could have that order ready and waiting for me? And then I could skip the line. That would be good for me. And I think, having worked in the industry, it would be good for the throughput capacity of the coffee shop as well. So that was the initial seedling of an idea that got Olo started as a business plan. I think the first document that I've been able to unearth was like December of 2003, far more than 20 years ago.
Okay, now your mission is hospitality at scale. Tell us your vision for how you're using technology to create that Cheers-like experience where everybody knows your name.
Yes, okay, I love the question. So we have since scaled dramatically from that initial idea up to now 85,000 restaurants on our platform across 700 enterprise restaurant brands. We see about 85 million guests through that platform every year. And over our history, we've done billions and billions of transactions. We do about 2 million more transactions every day. That's just a sense of scale. But all of those transactions are really valuable as clues about who those guests are who are placing the transactions. What are the things that they like? How do they modify their dish or their beverage? And how do you then learn from that to personalize their experience going forward? Personalize your communications to them going forward. That's what we mean when we talk about hospitality at scale. It's using all of these data points that you can keep in a human brain at a small scale. As a Cheers-like establishment, Norm sits in that stool, he has this drink. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows your name, right? But it's hard to do that at the scale that enterprise restaurants operate unless you have a data platform underneath, and unless you can really collate all of the data that you're collecting guest by guest so that you know about each of these guests and you know what the right thing is to recommend to that guest based on their history, or you know any sort of preference that they have articulated explicitly or that you can infer from their behavior at the restaurant over the time that they've been guests there.
Makes a lot of sense. Tell us about the Olo Flywheel Effect and how that helps you better understand your customers.
Yeah, well, it starts with all of that order data that we've been able to collect over the years, all the orders that our guests are placing at their favorite brands and collating those back to the guest. We've extended Olo Pay, which is the second part of the Olo Flywheel, to also touch all of those transactions that are non-digital transactions. So think, I'm still walking into the restaurant, or I'm still going through the drive-through, or I'm still ordering through the server. All of those transactions, if Olo is acting as the payment processor, we can pull that data as well into the guest data platform and understand who that guest is and all the items that they've ordered. So those are the data sources, orders and payments. And then our Engage suite is really about taking that data and taking action on it. So that's about communicating with you with a relevant message based on what we know about you, doing so in a timely manner so that it's at the right time that's going to really resonate with you, etc. That, if done well, drives more orders, drives more payments, and that's why it's a flywheel, because it spins faster and faster as it's operational and gets up to speed.
Great. Now you're doing 2 million orders daily across 85,000 locations. What are some of the unique challenges that come along with that?
I think the biggest thing for us always has been, if we're going to be this mission critical piece of infrastructure for the industry, we have to be bulletproof reliable. We talk a lot at Olo about reliability at scale. We need to be there and always on for our customers. And that's something that we take a lot of pride in. We have a website, status.olo.com. At all times, you can see all the components of the Olo platform, their uptime, historically, what that uptime has been. And you can see all the different service providers that integrate into Olo, over 400 partners in our technology ecosystem, and you can see their uptime. That is really where our promise to our brands of reliability at scale lives in a real-time manner, is on that status page.
Okay, at that scale, can you speak to the state of the restaurant market?
I think so. I mean, at least our vantage point into the restaurant market, what we see, what we hear from our customers is we're in a moment in time when we're all desperate to drive traffic. Traffic has fallen off. It's fallen off because prices increased. We took price, and at some point guests say, enough is enough, I can't come as frequently if it's going to be that expensive. So the standard playbook for restaurants in moments like this is bomb price, do deals, do discounts, do value menus. Or also another variation of that is pour a lot of funds into third-party marketplaces to drive traffic from DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, etc., in a way that is driving traffic, but in a way where you're not getting any data about the guest. And we think all of those tactics are helpful in the short term for driving transactions, driving sales volume on the top line, but they're oftentimes not profitable transactions. And the franchisees, they're the ones who are holding the bag on profitless transactions. Mm-hmm. It leads to stores closing. It leads ultimately to bankruptcy for brands. We think that brands are ultimately, if they follow that playbook, discounting themselves to death. And again, I felt like there's got to be a better way than this break glass in case of emergency, discount set of tactics. And that's really where our focus on driving profitable traffic comes from. Using all of this data that we've been able to collect over the years, using the new data that we're able to collect through the expansion of our platform to help brands understand their guests, personalize their communications to guests, and in doing that, expand the frequency that the guest comes, the size of the basket of every order, and oftentimes, the mix of the menu that guest is experiencing and craving from the brand. If I know that you always get the same thing and I say, hey, guests like you who always get this thing have also really loved this other thing and you've never tried it before, if I can tell you about that, if I can make a smart recommendation to you, that might just create the next thing that you're craving from my brand. And you might start to come twice as frequently because now you have two core cravings for my brand. That's a kind of tactic that's long-term healthy for brands. It enables them not just to survive in this moment, but to really thrive for the long term.
Great. Last question. As we look ahead and we look at technology's role in the restaurant industry, what does the future of the guest experience look like to you?
My dream scenario is that the guest experience feels very true to the industry, feels human first and like I'm getting genuine hospitality, but that under the surface that's getting enriched and powered by a lot of the data and the insights that we're able to gather and provide to the server or to the cashier or to the humans inside the restaurant just at the right moment to deliver on that feeling where the guest feels like a regular, even if it's their very first time into the restaurant or the server's first shift. That is what a data platform like what we've created is capable of doing. And the magic of it is really when it recedes into the background and you still feel like this is an amazing experience that I'm receiving from this brand. They know me, they treat me like a regular. That's what we mean by hospitality at scale.
Okay, we'll leave it there. This has been Noah Glass, the founder and CEO of Olo, which is listed on the New York Stock Exchange under OLO. I'm Jarrett Banks, signing off from Orlando.